who just joined. We just shared a Jamboard, which looks like this. And if you would be able to share just kind of what do you know about ports? Like I said before, 5 fingers, you're an old school ports fan. 1 finger doesn't have something to do with boats, or I have no idea what we're here to talk about today. So back to my presentation. So my name is Scott Shepard, and my title is K-12 Access Project Coordinator, and I work with the California State Parks Ports Program. So my work is really focused on how can we increase equitable access to California state parks for K-12 communities statewide. And I'm going to let you know a little bit more about ports in a moment, but I want to share an image for those of you guys who maybe have no idea what it is that we do. If anybody wants to unmute themselves and just kind of jump in, if you are in that 1 finger category, what does this maybe inspire in you curiosity wise? What do you start thinking about? Anybody have any thoughts to share?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
So if you're in that 1 finger category, and I'm showing you this picture here, what do you think ports might mean? Can you guess what ports would mean? You could type it into the chat, or you can unmute yourself. You could let us like share what you think maybe the types of services we provide, so on and so forth.
Okay. I see the beach. So yeah, 300, I like that one, 360-degree views, watching for whatever's going on.
Something to do with park rangers, something to do with VR, virtual field trips, maybe, ecological learning. Awesome. So all of these ideas are kind of getting on the right kind of track. So PARC stands for, or PORT stands for Parks Online Resources for Teachers and Students. And we've been a public service that we've been providing from California State Parks for the past 17 years. And this is a short video that was created way back when we started in the early 90s. And I just want to show you really quickly an example of what we used to look like, and then get into what we look like now. So let me go back to the beginning right here. I find this music really funny. I'll wait for it.
California's state parks and California's public schools have been working together for decades to protect our resources and educate our children. Today, however, more and more children do not have the opportunity to visit our parks with their schools. California's rapidly growing population, the explosion of urbanization, and a myriad of social and economic issues have combined to leave many children without the connection to state parks that past generations have enjoyed. This is why state parks are now utilizing technology to reach many of California's students. By using a new high-speed network known as the Digital California Project, or the DCP, they are able to connect California's public schools to California's state parks. The hope is to bring the natural and cultural wonders of our parks to all of California's children. California state parks contain tremendous biological diversity.
I'm going to skip ahead just a little bit so you can get an example
With the
of
DCP network, children sitting in a classroom in downtown Los Angeles can participate in a guided tour of the State Capitol Museum, although they may never be able to travel there. Children in an
So as you can see, the issues that they're describing in this video that were in place in the 90s are more relevant now than they ever have been before. Students don't have the ability to come and visit our California state parks for a whole myriad of reasons, whether they be economical, whether they be cultural, or whether they be related to COVID, whether they be related to park closures, whatever that may be. So we continue to provide live virtual field trip experiences for K-12 students that really highlight the educational opportunities that teachers and students can have by connecting with a California state park. Myself, I come from a teaching background. I taught, I was a founding faculty member at a school in San Diego called High Tech Elementary, where I started an outdoor education program and had the opportunity to design really deep and meaningful projects that related to a lot of the available ports programs. So in that video, you saw students could connect with the state capitol from Los Angeles. Students could connect with Crystal Cove from Oakland. Today, you can connect with more students than ever before, or you can connect with more parks than ever before. And this is what it's always looked like for us in the past, where we're providing this virtual experience to students in their in-person classroom. And obviously, just like everybody else, with school closures and the start of COVID in the spring, we pivoted to make our programs public facing so that students could start joining them while learning from home. So we call this our flagship resource. And the reason that we call it our flagship resource is, we've been doing this for such a long time. Distance learning isn't something that's really new to us, but something that is new to us is measuring our impact with evidence. The number of students that we're connecting with on each year is increasing. You see here, this number is 670,000 students from that 17-year time period that I was explaining. This year alone, the 2020 to 2021 school year will connect with 150,000 students approximately. And not just that, we have over 40 parks with a variety of different programs that you can come and attend with your students. But speaking of measuring our impact with evidence, I just want to share with you a report. And the reason that I think this is relevant is because I know you guys are the OCCUE. So this is a report that came out of what's called an evidence-based learning network that California State Parks participated in, along with 29 other environmental education programs nationwide that have turned their programs digital. And that includes zoos, aquariums, resource conservation districts, national parks, state parks like us, a whole variety of different type of outdoor and environmental education providers. And what's really incredible about this is it's one of the first times that we've ever been able to gather data directly from students, where we're able to see what is the impact of our program on students, not just what is the perception or teachers' perceptions of those impact. So these 13 indicators here, which were measured during this study, are the 13 measurable indicators that are most likely to show evidence of positive environmental behaviors through adulthood. So essentially living a more sustainable life. And if we scroll down here, one of your guys' closest California state parks, which is Crystal Cove State Park, outperformed the average on what's called action and orientation by a factor of about 20%. So really what that means is that students are inspired to live differently as a result of their participation with a Crystal Cove Ports program. These figures here, they're not in green and they're not starred because they're not statistically significant, unfortunately, because we didn't have a large enough sample size for these groups. But we were able to gather enough data from Crystal Cove to show with statistical significance that our programs are really inspiring positive environmental behaviors and sustainable practices in not just the students that we serve, but as they grow into adulthood. So I really love that data. I think it's really exciting and really interesting. But I'm going to jump back into my slide presentation. If you'll give me a moment. So now in the 2021 or 2020 to 2021 school year, as I said before, these are the different types of programs that you might be able to connect with. And if you visit our website at ports-ca.us, which you'll see regularly throughout these slides, and I'll just go ahead and add the slides to the chat in just a moment so that you guys can follow along with me. But you can scroll through a whole variety of different types of programs that we provide, including what we call on-demand. So for our on-demand programs, these are available to you right now. They're free, 100% free to you. All you'll have to do is visit our website, scroll down a little ways, and take a peek at some of these parks here. So each one of these parks, you'll notice there's a topic and the name of the park. There isn't a grade level necessarily associated with the program because our programs are all adaptable to all grade levels from K-12. And our interpreters are really experts at adapting their programs for different audiences. So if you're a fourth grade teacher, someone mentioned going to the missions. Not only do we have connections to missions, but you could go and visit an old gold rush town. You could go and explore, communities and stories that maybe haven't been told as regularly throughout the history of California. Colonel Allensworth State Park is in the Central Valley, and it was a community that was founded by this gentleman who served in the Union Army during the Civil War and was trying to create a safe space for African Americans here in the state of California. You can explore, like if you're in high school teaching, STEM, or if you're exploring engineering practices, you can go and explore places like Hearst Castle. If you're a kindergarten teacher and you just want to provide your students with something fun, that's going to get them excited, getting them laughing and moving around, having a good time, you can come and explore things like our butterfly programs or our sea otter programs or our kelp forest programs, among a whole variety of others. So when you click on one of these tiles here, it'll take you to a page where there is a scheduling system right here. You'll just select the program that you're interested in, select the date and time that works best for you, complete a short form, and when you click complete appointment, you'll receive an automated email, as will our interpreter, which contains all of the Zoom information that you'll need to connect with your students. And if you scroll down, you'll find other affiliated resources that are available from that park. And those really vary from park to park based off of how long they've been providing ports programs. So that's just our on-demand programs. There's also things like our home learning programs, which if you think of Mr. Rogers in a California state park, that's really what we're trying to emulate. It's an opportunity for students to join a public broadcast where they're connecting with natural, cultural, and historic resources from different places around California. And you can find those programs on our website under home learning programs, where you'll find a really simple calendar where you can peruse our different available program offerings over the course of the next few weeks and months. Sign up, attend with your students, have students attend on their own, whatever it is that they like. And then we have online curated resources from our digital content library, previous broadcasts available on our YouTube channel. And then what I'm going to start talking about in a moment is our passports program. But I see a lot of questions in the chat, so I'm going to open it up to questions. You're welcome to unmute yourself and I'll peruse these at the same time.
I have a quick question. When we get set an appointment, do we get a live person presenting to us?
Yes, it would be just like you or me on Zoom, but I would be physically in the park, wearing my uniform, connecting with you with the resources. I would pick you up, walk you down the trail, get you up close and personal with different resources that we have, whether they're on land, underwater, underground, up in the canopy of trees, in the forest around you, whatever they may be. It's a really interactive, immersive experience that feels like you're visiting a park. And when I was teaching, what I found was that I wanted to take my students camping. I wanted to take my students skiing. I wanted to take my students rock climbing, like all these crazy things. And almost immediately, I found that my students weren't equipped with the foundational skills that they needed to feel safe in an outdoor environment, because they were worried about lions and tigers and bears. They were worried about things that were just not realistic in the environment where we were. And that was because they lacked access. So again, like, this is an opportunity to increase equitable access to California state parks by providing students the opportunity to ask those kinds of questions that they're afraid of, get past those foundational skills, just like a pre-literate learner, so that they can start going out and exploring the environment on their own through fluency. That's really my vision for the impact that we're trying to have with students. But I see I've checked OnDemand. Interactive calendar imports is booked until August. So you will find that a lot of our programs are booking up really fast. But we are trying to adjust right now as quickly as we can to provide you with the easiest access to our available program offerings. Yeah, Maureen.
Approximately how long are the on-demand programs? Are they an hour, 2 hours? I mean, 30 minutes? They probably vary, right?
Yeah, it depends. Right now, our scheduling system is automated to provide you with a 45-minute program. But if you would prefer a 30-minute or an hour-long program, you can type that into the notes of the form. And that's perfectly fine. Other questions? Yeah, so as I was saying, you know, a lot of our programs are booking up quickly. There's just been a really high demand for the programs that we're providing. And if we can't book on demand, what do you think would be a second best option as we teach over Zoom? Another great option would be to just jump onto a home learning program or take advantage of our resources through the Passports project. So you'll see down here at the bottom of my screen, this logo, and you'll see CUE as a part of that. So California State Parks is partnering right now with CUE and our new affiliate nonprofit, which is called Parks California, to reimagine the school field trip. And we're really looking to do that with the assistance of K-12 educators just like you. These are our 6 main goals that we're really trying to focus on: reimagining the school field trip, creating sustainable, equitable access to California state parks, providing funding, which we do have when folks are ready to come back and visit our California state parks, increasing the awareness of our programs, which is really what I'm trying to do here today, connecting with all of you, creating blended access so students can connect virtually and in person with parks, and providing instructional resources which are low prep, customizable, easy to use, and connect not only to the CCSS and NGSS standards that you guys need to focus on, but also the resources in our California state parks. I really come from a PBL lens, so I don't see any reason why we can't leave the topic of why it's important to protect places where we play, while we learn about science, while we learn about literacy, while we learn about history, whatever that may be. But so I want to stop and drop these slides into the chat because I feel like, how do I even get out of this now? I'm so sorry, guys. All right. So I'm going to share these slides so that people can click around on some of the links that I've been referring to. And I see some more things coming into the chat as well. So anybody have another question while I'm doing this fun techie stuff? Can the deck be shared again? Yes. Deck is shared right now with all of you. Okay, so I'm going to go back to present mode. So just about a week ago, we really undertook one of the first steps of this Passports project to achieve particularly this goal of curating those instructional resources that I mentioned that are low prep, customizable, easy to use, benefiting from high quality pedagogical practices by facilitating something called the Port Symposium, the Passport Symposium. So in that, we invited CUE teachers from all across the state of California, including teachers and administrators from county offices of education, school districts that we've partnered with for a long period of time. And we gave them the opportunity to design resources using our curated California State Parks materials. So what does that really look like? So in the past, you can see behind me, this is Torrey Pines State Park. I'm not actually there right now, unfortunately, but I would take my students on a field trip there annually. And I had to search the whole internet to try and find things that I could use to prepare them for that field trip. So we tried to, in fact, do just that, search the whole internet, find all of the things that were relevant to that particular California State Park and break it down into a digestible format for teachers. So one of the things that came out of that symposium is what's called our Anza Borrego 5E design template. So we really tried to empower
Scott,
teachers. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. When you shared it, did you share it with everyone or did you share it with a particular person? Your slide deck.
I just dropped the, oh, I'm sorry. I shared it just with Marcia. Sorry, guys.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you, everyone, for your patience with me.
I was trying to copy and share it with everybody, but I couldn't do it.
No problem. Thank you for your patience. So when you take a look at this, you'll see that it may look a little bit similar to Edu protocols that you've explored before or QCraft resources on OCCUE.org. That's because we've been developing these directly with CUE teachers. So in this, it kind of explains what is a 5E lesson. You can explore this resource here from Catlin Tucker to really get a deeper understanding of how to utilize the 5E. And you can follow our workflow, which I'll open really fast, to just jump into this resource toolkit, start exploring our curated resources, populate the toolkit that you have here with the resources that you want, facilitate that engage, explore, explain, take your students to a park, evaluate and elaborate, and then let us know how it went, share your feedback. So what do those curated resources look like? They're related reading. So that includes book titles that are broken down by grade level and by topic and by park that they're associated with. That'll also include articles from places like News ELA and other open access educational resources online that are relevant to Anza Borrego Desert State Park. You'll find videos, which include 360 videos, published videos from news outlets, what have you. Here, you'll also find access to the Colorado Desert District YouTube channel. And then one thing I'm really excited about is what we're calling our NGSS Phenomenon Bank. So when I was teaching, I would always really try and have a hook that would engage my students right at the start of our science lessons so that they would be inspired to be curious and get excited about whatever it was that we were doing. And Anza Borrego is a little bit light. I'm still moving some things over here. But just to give you an example, I might open up a photo like this and just drop it into the slide deck in that engage category and ask my students to think about where they think this is or what it is that's happening in this picture or explain something in this picture to me, just as that really quick hook to get them excited. And general resources as well. And this is where it gets kind of muddled, but these are anything from virtual coloring sheets, bingo sheets, existing worksheets that have been around for a really long time, to things like, depending on the park, AR and VR resources that students can explore. You'll also find existing lessons that have been created by other teachers all across the state and access to other sorts of 5E lesson design templates, ranging, from the type of perspective and the age group that you might be interested in trying to connect with. So without going into the weeds too far into this particular slide deck, after you've facilitated activities that engage your students, get them to explore resources, explain those not only to each other, but to you as well, elaborate and evaluate, you're able to provide us with feedback on how this resource worked for you and your students. So this is really the first phase of how we're trying to increase access to the knowledge and the resources that we have, the materials that we have, and put them into teachers' hands so that you guys as experts in student learning can utilize them to the best of your ability. Another thing that you can take advantage of here, where you can provide us feedback with right now, is something called the Passports Educator Survey. And this is really an opportunity for us to ask you what your needs are when it comes to both virtual and in-person field trips, and how we can support you to be more successful in connecting your students with the natural world, with real history, with local phenomenon, so on and so forth. I was seeing some things drop into the chat, but I'm not seeing them now, so I'm going to keep going. Anybody have any questions about those passports design kits? You can also find things like our existing passports resources right here on the passports page, where you'll scroll down, and each one of these links here will provide you with 5 e-lessons that connect you directly to those parks, get your students, you know, exploring, engaging, all of those wonderful things. Cool. So back in the slides. And, you know, I'm telling you about all these things that we have. We have more. We have an official partnership with this new resource here, which is called California Educators Together. That was created in partnership with the California Department of Education and the California Educational Foundation to provide teachers an online space where they can share and build engaging and meaningful lessons using not only digital, but hands-on and in-person content. The Smithsonian Learning Labs, if you're not familiar with that, we have put together collections of incredible array of different kinds of resources through that platform. I know that people were mentioning Flipgrid back in the main room. We have over 250 topics with California State Parks. We're an official partner with them. If you follow that link in the slideshow, you'll see, you know, the wide array of different kinds of resources that you can explore from California State Parks. And at times it can be overwhelming to look at over 280 topics from our different California State Parks. So I encourage you to check out our Flipgrid collections. I mentioned VR and AR experiences. These are really, really cool new resources that have just come out of the Parks Department. In this image here, you'll see a redwood tree. So you can download on your phone right now. There's an app called the Explore North Coast Redwoods. Let me just confirm that that's correct. Yeah, Coast Redwood Canopy Explore app. Ooh, I'm going to turn off my virtual background and give you a glimpse of where I really am just for a moment so that you can see this. But I'd encourage you to download it on your phone right now. What this prompts you to do is to scan a flat surface. The app looks just like this. You'll see I have a few different ones. Coast Redwood Canopy Explore app. It prompts you to scan a flat surface. After you've scanned that flat surface, an AR redwood tree will pop up on your table or that flat surface in your room, which you can make bigger or smaller. And these little white dots here will drop you into a 360 video taken from inside the canopy of a coast redwood tree in the north of our state. And you'll see here, this is just one image that was captured from within that 360 video that you'll have a chance to explore. We have a scientist and we also have an interpreter in the tree sharing about the ecosystem in the canopy of our redwoods. You'll also find here, there's another resource that's just come out from Point Lobos. It's called the Dive into Point Lobos app. And this gives you the opportunity likewise to scan a flat surface and dive underwater into the kelp forest, drop into a 360 image of the kelp forest, explore, listen to interpretive content, whatever that may be. So talk about engaging. I feel like my 6-year-old son, who is admittedly a little bit pre-literate, has the ability to be engaged and hooked with these types of resources for hours on end, for better or worse. We also have existing PBL resources and, like I mentioned, funding, which if you visit our passports page, you'll find that as well, the opportunities to access that funding. But I mentioned the Passports Curriculum Symposium, and we're looking to try and facilitate something called the Passports Field Trip Symposium. So I'd love to invite everybody here on this call to attend. It's really an opportunity for teachers, educators, both in and outside the Parks Department, to come together to talk about what would be the most amazing, engaging field trip ever for their students. And it's an opportunity not only for you guys to give information, but to get information as well, because we'll be announcing the developments of the Passports project at each one of these symposiums as we move forward. The date is TBD, but we're looking at the last 2 weeks of March or the first 2 weeks of April. So if you're interested in attending, you can complete this short survey right here, and that'll just let us know that you're interested. We'll put you on the list to receive more information about that. You can also visit our website to jump onto our mailing list if you want to know more about what's happening with ports. But I want to ask you guys, how are we feeling about ports now? So I'm gonna try and copy this link and drop it into the chat. So it's Coast Redwood Canopy is the name of the app. So if you guys want to follow that Jamboard link, how are we feeling about ports now? Cool. Awesome. And feel free to grab more Post-its. I'm new to, or grab your laser and show us where you're feeling, whether it be over on this area or over on this area as well. I'm new to Jamboard, but I find it really exciting and really interesting. So does anybody have any questions about what it is that, how it is that we're trying to increase access to California state parks, how it is that we're trying to remain relevant in your guys' classrooms and in your students' lives, all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to stop the share just for a moment.
I got a question. Okay, on your symposium that you guys have to be announced, I know a couple years ago there used to be like the Teacher Ranger program through the California State. Is that similar to that, or are they two different programs? Because I always wanted to apply to be a part of the Teacher Ranger program for the summer.
That's such a wonderful question, and I like that you're making that connection. So there, and this is backed by research as well, but there's a lot of confusion in the California community, not just teachers, but people in general, on the difference between California state parks and national parks. Is that
Okay.
the backwards one?
That was national.
Okay, cool. So Teacher Ranger Teacher is with national parks, but this is modeled from that. We're really trying to bring in a true educational perspective to the California State Parks team. And to be honest, I think that's one of the reasons why I was hired, because I came directly from the classroom and had taught both in and outside for around 10 years. So I think Parks is really trying to make sure that we're connecting with you folks and your students in the ways that you guys want to be connected with.
Okay, very cool.
Who else has questions? I know it's hard to ask questions on Zoom. It's okay, guys.
I just want to say thank you. I wish I would have known about this sooner when I was teaching some units, and I love that I'm just in Corona Del Mar, so that Crystal Cove would be just for them to actually understand where they live. So thank you so much for sharing this.
Absolutely. And I think that that's a really good point, like the opportunity to understand where you live. We live in a state where these parks belong to us, whether they're on the Oregon border or on the Mexico border. Feel free to take advantage of these. Amy, I see you took yourself off mute. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I teach 4th grade and we teach the Island of the Blue Dolphin. I was wondering if you have ports programs that include the Channel Islands, the Southern Channel Islands.
Not the Channel Islands, but we do have Point Lobos State Natural Reserve, which is in Monterey Bay. We have Crystal Cove State Park. We have Carpinteria State Beach. We have Gaviota State Beach, which all tell stories that are really, really relevant to the Island of the Blue Dolphin story. And I just found this incredible database of resources of published articles, original published articles about what's called the Lone Woman of San Nicolas Island that relate to that book. And I'm super interested in bringing in some teachers together for our next curriculum symposium to try and break down the story of Island of the Blue Dolphins and put ports programs in chapters that they're most relevant to. Like the otter fur trade in particular is incredibly relevant to Point Lobos State Natural Reserve. The times in the story where she's utilizing the resources that she collects from the beach, like the grunion and so on and so forth, super relevant to Carpinteria, super relevant to Gaviota State Beach, that are now not just experiencing high levels of biodiversity on their beaches, but high levels of plastic pollution as well. And how does that impact the environment? So if you are interested in this kind of work, we'd love to have you join our team. We'd love to have you guys be a part of it.
I would love to be involved with that because I love that book and I love the real history.
I think personally that it's fallen out of favor in the educational community because it tells the story of Indigenous people in kind of an antiquated way. And I'd love to share, we have a park that is in a restored Indigenous people's village in Northern California, which is called Sumeg Village. And that park is interpreted by 3 interpreters of Yurok descent. They're of Indigenous descent of people that lived in that village for thousands of years. And they tell the story of Indigenous people and of colonization in a really relevant and new way that is inspiring to me. And I'd love to try and have that juxtaposed with Island of the Blue Dolphins in a way as well, and connect not only to the social and the current events that are going on right now and historic events that have gone on throughout California with racial justice and whatever that may be, but also things like science, things like math, things like whatever that may be. So,
wow.
And I'm sorry, I just get excited about that idea. So.
It's a very exciting book and a theme, and there's so much that can be built around it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for bearing with me talking too much.
Can I ask?
Yes.
How do the flip grids work? Is it that they answer the question or there's more information to be shared? I'm just trying to figure that one out. Right.
So typically the way that the flip grids work is you can grab a link and share it through your Google Classroom or whatever learning management system it is that you're using. The students will watch the video and they'll respond with a video which will only be viewable to you because it was shared through your Flipgrid account. So we can't see the videos that the students are responding with.
All right, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Anybody else? Any questions, ideas about how to connect with your local parks? Things that you would like to see from a service provider like us, whatever that may be. Cool. So I think I'm probably getting close to being out of time, Daryl. Is that correct?
Sorry, just one more thing. I live in Huntington Beach and teach in Santa Ana, but some of the kids in Santa Ana had just not even ever been to the beach at all. So just maybe like an exploration of just a state beach.
We have many of those.
Okay, all right. I haven't checked, obviously, so okay.
Yeah, San Elijo State Beach, San Onofre State Beach. We just 2 days ago had a program that was facilitated in collaboration with California State Park lifeguards that talked about ocean safety in big surf conditions. And that's available on our YouTube channel. It's not available on our Facebook page as well. But yeah, I experienced that in California as well. I had a student who was 18 years old, grown up in downtown San Diego, and had never been to the beach. The first time he went to the beach was with us. And really what I'm trying to do is make sure that that never happens again. So thank you guys so much for all of your time.
Wait, more questions?
Yeah, no, I'm open to stay for questions. Yeah.
So I'm looking at, in case I can't get a field trip, and I know you mentioned this earlier, but I'm just double checking. I go on that home page and I can see like let's the one of the days, January 21st, there's PE Parks parks at Hearst Castle. So I would just I know it's past the 21st, but I would just register for that and then I could go in.
Yeah, so you can do it one of two ways. You can either copy the
Mhm.
registration link and share that with your students directly so that they can register themselves for the Zoom meeting. Kind of a back-end
Mhm.
workaround is to meet with your
Mhm.
students through a Google Meet, and then you
Right.
register for the Zoom meeting. You share your screen from within Google Meet and then join the Zoom meeting. Then
Okay.
you have essentially brought your students with you down the virtual hall to our Zoom space, which Zoom doesn't have the
Okay.
ability to do just yet.
Okay. Great. All right. I appreciate that. I'm seeing California Mission Era on the February 25th. Thanks.
Go ahead, Marcia.
Yeah.
We're gonna get cut off pretty quickly. So Marcia, I know you had a question.
Oh, yeah. So we have a K1, K2 school, and 45 minutes is a little bit long. And you mentioned something about letting you guys know or
Yeah.
trying to get a 30-minute lesson.
That's really easy to do. All you have to do is when you're completing the form on our website to schedule, just say, can we have this program be 30 minutes? And just a little bit of, feedback. Our interpreters are so great at engaging the little ones that like my
Okay.
3-year-old and 6-year-old just love connecting with them. And I would recommend Hendy Woods State Park for little kids. My friend Steve, who's the interpreter there, he's an amateur magician and he brings a lot of magic